I don't want to sound like Angry Joe, but this game is frustrating, guys. It's frustrating. I will tell you why. What's up, YouTube? This is your boy G back in another video. Okay, so today let's talk. All right, so you probably noticed that I uploaded a video like my initial thoughts, right, for Final Fantasy XVI a couple of days ago, probably a couple of weeks ago. After I played the game for about several hours, just my initial thoughts. Now, I actually finished the game just about an hour ago, or maybe 30 minutes ago. And I wanted to sit here in front of you all and talk about it real quick. Final Fantasy 16, I think for me, everything that I will of course say here, just a disclaimer, quick disclaimer is of course my own opinion, right? My own thoughts about the game. Of course, you will have your own thoughts. Others will have theirs. It's just for my own opinion. And again, as a hardcore RPG fan and hardcore Final Fantasy fan, that is. But man, the ending. This is like one of the worst ending games that I've seen. Like the creators for this, they don't need to do the ending like this. It's actually pointless. Um, that's why I kind of like hated it more. Initially, right, I did not like it so much, like what you probably noticed on my review, but I kept on playing it. I even like pause, gaming on my Steam Deck, that much, so I can focus on Final Fantasy 16 and really like finish it. Really like go deeper with it. I've done all of the sub quests. I've done everything, as a matter of fact, to kind of like love it, right? But in my surprise, the longer that I play the game, which typically the longer you play the game, right, you will kind of like love it more. You will go deep on it. But the longer I play the game, specifically on kind of like the second half of it, right, or when you're like getting closer to the ending, the more that I'm like hating it, right? It's like, it's tedious. I don't want to do this anymore. Of course, sometimes you're gonna have fun, but because of FOMO again, it's fear of missing out, and again because it's kind of like it's hype, right? If it's an old game and you're playing it, you might not even probably uh, care enough, right? Because everybody else already finished the game. But let me talk about this real quick first. Spoiler warning, right? So if you haven't finished the game yet and you don't want to be spoiled, go back to this video once you finish the game. Go ahead and play it first. Or if it's okay for you to spoil, then okay, because I'm gonna talk spoiler here because I really want to dig deeper and get the details of the things, so you can understand why I kind of like hated the game, or specifically the ending for this, for this Final Fantasy 16. So again, spoiler alert, right? So, just to get it out of the way, this is like an action game, right? And initially, I talk about that on my initial review, and you may seem that, or you may think that I seem to be blaming the battle system, right? Because it's not turn-based, or it's not, but as a gamer, of course, only few of our games are turn-based, right? We also play a lot of action games. So honestly speaking, it's not even about that, right? It's about its characteristic as a Final Fantasy game, what's missing on it, and of course, again, the actual story, the actual pacing, the actual structure of the game. So let me give you now my full review, right? This is my final, complete, full review after finishing the game. But of course, I mean, just a normal game. I finish it without any assist, without any ring or anything like that. Not even like an experience boost or money boost. It's just straight up action mode, without any rings at all. And then I just unlocked the new game plus. Of course, I'm going to play that as well, because I paid for this game. But I believe without the new game plus, just the core game alone, the game should deliver. It's not bad, right? The game itself is not bad, especially because it has a strategy to actually mask the things that are bad, right? So I will discuss that further. Some of other games like Ubisoft, or the latest, or recent Assassin's Creed, or some other games, you will actually really feel that they're bad, they're worse because they don't have that impact, they don't have that epicness that they deliver. So all of the crappy things are very visible. We notice those right away, right? Honestly speaking, Final Fantasy 16, there's a lot of those things, right? It's very linear, it's very small, and this game has the the weirdest and the most awkward movement of NPCs, conversation and things. If you used to play what do you call this, like what's the game from Gorilla, the Horizon game, right? Forbidden West, for example. Like that's night and day, right? The animation of the NPCs when they're talking, that's night and day. That is the real graphical, fidelity and power of PS5, and of course, again, the art behind it. But here, Final Fantasy 16 has the most uninteresting, right? Unmotivated, very shallow, and very weird, awkward side quests, right? Now, I can see like what they're trying to go here, because sometimes it's kind of like building up, right? Their sub quest is structured to be like part one, part two, part three on some specific, character. So that's how they build the character. So probably hoping that you will love the character. I can at least see the effort, but it's not effective. After even playing like four, quest line of a specific blacksmith, for example, like Blackthorn, I still didn't really care for him that much. Didn't really, he doesn't really matter for me. And I think it's just because it's weird, right? His movement is weird. Whenever you're talking to him, it's weird. It's just kind of like freaky, it's awkward, very very weird. It's kind of like the feeling when you're playing the Skyrim before, the NPC Skyrim. It's not smooth, right? It's not flawless, and their side quest is pretty tedious. So there are like what do you call this? They're like fast travel point, right? Teleportation stone, something like that. But you will notice that they're strategically gonna like ask you to go to place where there's no teleportation stone. You will have to travel via land, right, or chocobo, or running. And I think that's a big miss, because if they have just a spaceship or something, like a plane, like a traditional JRPG or RPG, or even Final Fantasy, right, always has, is like the ship that you can actually maneuver. It will be more enjoyable, right? But running, via chocobo on these dead ass places, it's kind of like lifeless places. I mean, literally lifeless, because that's what even the game is going after for. It's just death after death, right? It's gonna feel tedious and pointless. Like you will often ask yourself, well, why am I doing this? Why should I go there? Why is it so far? And then when you go there, you just spam again, the square, the skills and things like that, and it's done. And then go back to hideaway and repeat and rinse and repeat, right? There's no complexity on side quests. There's no depth, right? There's no motivation on doing those. And more importantly, like one of the biggest gripe that I have is there's really no reason in doing them, right? I mean, the itemization, right? The equipment itemization on this game is just whack, right? Just out. It's just really bad. It's nuts. It's very linear, right? So I think the thing that only matters here is the sword, right? So it's you have a sword, and then you constantly upgrade that as you go along with the story. But then it's also pointless, because sometimes you will like farm for material, for example, right? You're gonna build a sword, you're gonna look for materials, and just for you to find out that as soon as you go to the story, go along with the story, 10 minutes after, your sword is now available on a store. You can actually purchase now even a better sword. So it's like the reward is even like worse than buying a new iPhone and then Apple releasing another version of it, right? It's not that great. It's kind of annoying. Plus, While I'm at it, right, on this, on the sword, on the upgrade, their upgrade is very minuscule, right? It's like they're gonna add like five, So for example, attack damage is 200, so it's gonna be like 205, right? On the next sword, it's gonna be 210, 225, which is ridiculous, right? They can like make it like 3,575, 20,000. I don't know. They can play around with the numbers, right? To make it more impactful. Not to mention on that impact itself, when you're actually fighting mobs or enemies, there's really no weight. There's really no impact at all, specifically on the hack and slash part of it, right? Because this is still RPG. I mean, this is still Final Fantasy, right? It's not really like Devil May Cry, other action games out there, like Monster Hunter or so. It's not really great on that aspect. So there's no real weight on smashing your sword. It's just like you can like close your eyes and then just smash, and you wouldn't even notice if you have an enemy or you're just swinging on the air. It's just the same, right? There's no feedback. There's no what do you call this? There's no satisfaction, right, in hammering something. For example, if you play God of War, whenever you're like axing an enemy, you will definitely feel, right, the weight of the axe like going to the shoulder, or the animation, the movement. It's top notch. Here, nothing like that. It's just a lot of bunch of lights that will make the most epileptic have seizure on this game, because it's just really nuts on that aspect, on the lights and such. But so let me talk more on the structure. So that's the side quest, right? One of the crappy things that I really noticed is the side quest, and of course the itemization. Now I thought it's gonna be better, right? Because I'm just new, just a couple of hours, so I stayed and I played, and up until the end, it's freaking the same, guys. This is a Final Fantasy game, but there's no dungeon, right? There's no like secret place where you can really explore and then find, like a really ridiculous maze or something, or like a secret boss, or like a very intricate boss that you will have to spend like several minutes, right, fighting. Or there's no mini games, for example, so that you can feel a little bit lighter. You can feel like chocobo racing, right, for other Final Fantasy game, or simple darts or something with other RPG games. There's no mini games. There's no fun at all in this game, right? That's the problem. It looks like they went too much in a more serious note, like Game of Thrones stuff, right? I understand. Sometimes you just gotta have to do what you think is effective, right? It's just that on my gripe, I mean, games are supposed to be fun, right? Because you're playing it. Otherwise, you're just gonna watch movies or something, or maybe play your real life, right? Because our life alone is already like depressing AF, right? So you're actually playing games so that you can feel better. I'm all with the death and with the sadness. Sometimes it's fine, so that they can pull some tears from you, but you don't have to do it monotonous, like just that, right? Like just death, nothing else. You can have like parties, you can have mini games, you can have ridiculousness. That's why typically, what kind of games this, like a dragon, right? Like Ishin, the Japanese game. That's why it's very popular in Japan and internationally, because there's a lot of fun factor in it, right? There's a lot of mini games, there's a lot of stupidity. So people will actually sit after like a tiring day and work, right? Sit in front of our PlayStation and play games so you can lose on your Final Fantasy, right? Final Fantasy 16 is like you're already depressed in your real life, and then when you sit down and you play, it's gonna make you even more depressed, right? People are just dying without real like legitimate reasons, just what they decided, right? And there are no mini games. There are no people really smiling. There's really, very, very small part that you might think it's lighter, but Jesus Christ, it's very, very monotonous and very sad. If you imagine Jill, right, like kind of like your leading lady there, Jill's face in the entire game is just freaking the same, right? Uh, I don't hate Jill. I just actually pity the character, because she's just freaking the same, right? You won't even see her smiling or laughing or dancing or something. She's just exactly like a statue with a sword, right? Some Tifa is very dynamic, right? Yuffie, I'm not even talking about Yuffie, right? Yuffie is very fun, very dynamic. Lulu from Final Fantasy X is very awesome. You know, Riku. There's a lot of characters in Final Fantasy that are just really vibrant and bright that will make you happy. You know, will make you like feel love. Will make you feel that you're having fun in this Final Fantasy. None of these characters actually made me feel that, right? Even Clab is just freaking poker face of a guy because, they prioritize the handsomeness and the mysteriousness of the guy. He never even smiled or he's not dynamic, there's no, he's not dancing, he's not joking around, there's nothing, right? Just running around being weird. And one thing that you will also notice, the animation of Clive is super weird because he's always leaving conversation early. Like he's discussing with someone, right? Somebody in a side quest or something, and then you will just see it's just gonna walk away, while the frame is still, framing the character. It's just kind of weird, but yeah, that's going to kind of like the character build up, right? None of the, again, like my initial review, that's my major gripe about this game, the character build up. Even though for the ending they're really aiming for a very epic, I can tell you that again, Caesar inducing sceneries there. After it you will feel flat. You will you will feel nothing, right? You might feel that you're sad, because of Torgal the dog, of course gonna make you feel sad. But the ending, man, like in the entire game, it's just super crappy. It will leave like a void in your heart that this game is actually empty. It's, no pun intended, it's lifeless, right? There's a lot of lights, there's a lot of animation, a lot of stuff, but there's no character build up to the point that you will really love them. On the ending, traditionally with other games as well, all of them are there, right? In the hideaway, some of the characters that you've seen before in the side quest are also there, kind of like providing support, but their impact is not really that huge because it's like I don't care about you guys, right? I've probably just seen I know, one or two times, and you didn't really matter. You didn't even give me like a good loot or gear or something, so you're not memorable to me. Very easy to dismiss, right? Now, the battle, you would think that wearing a ring or what is that, assist or something, will actually make it easier or something. I didn't even wear that even 1 second on my actual playthrough. I put it on my daughter's playthrough because my daughter's playing it. But I played the game on an action mode without any assist at all. Again, without even the experience or money boost because I only found it out like when I'm finishing the game, actually, like 1 hour before I finish the game. But man, this game is ridiculously easy. Like I'm not even kidding. It's one of the easiest RPG that I played because it's just really like mindless, especially once you obtain Odin, right? Once you get all of the icons that you have, you can just shuffle all of them because of the cooldown. That's it, right? I don't even understand why they provided the rings of assist or something like that, timely attack. I don't know, if they can just like create an easy mode, right? Hard mode, hardcore mode, something like that, or even Final Fantasy mode right from the get go, so people can actually play on that difficulty right away without even finishing the game, requiring it to go to the new game plus, because that game is freaking easy. Now, it's not like easy, right? So some other people might say it's difficult, right? Um, it's not, right? Honestly speaking, it's not difficult. It's like a cheap difficulty, right? It's the enemies might die longer because they're like absorbing damage, right? Or your damage to them is minuscule, but it doesn't mean it's difficult because that's it. There's no dynamics, there's no mechanics, there's no specialization, passive or anything like that. It's just really like, you know, you attack a couple of attack, and then you use your skills, your icon skills, right? Let them cool down. Pretty much, if you actually manage them, like use them alternatively between your normal attack, they will actually cool down enough, right? To be available for the next one. So you can just essentially spam them. When all of them are cooling down and you can't really use them, you can just use your kind of like your god mode rage, right? Your limit break, and and your limit break is very easy to feel. Whenever you're using icon skill, it will feel. And then, when you're using limit break, kind of like a God of War mode, rage mode, your attack are, along with iframe being invulnerable, you also have like or you're not gonna be interrupted, right? Uninterruptible. You're also gonna like life steal or heal. So it's very easy, right? As long as you have a couple of potions there, it's very easy. Like you can fight the final enemy on this one using like 6 potions. I mean, I've played a lot of RPG and I already like exhausted like 30 potions with a lot of magics, with a lot of MP, right? Or magic potions. I already use all of my healing abilities and things like that, and still I cannot beat the enemy. On this one, you can actually beat the final enemy using like a couple of potions. It's it's nuts, right? And the problem about that, it's not rewarding. So because it's just easy, it's just mindless bash, or again waiting for the cooldown, it may feel entertaining because it's very action oriented. Again, epic, right? So you're gonna feel like you're having tension, things like that, as if you're like an action star or something. But after the fight, you're actually gonna feel empty, right? Because there's no reward, there's no what do you call this? Like the feeling that we're gonna get whenever like we fight a really difficult enemies. For example, in Elden Ring, when you fight a boss, you can really be proud about it. Here, like I fought a boss and I'm not even proud about it. It's just, I mean, it's just normal. It's kind of like a story, right? And that's a problem because on a lot of other RPG, that's the core of it. That's the essence. You're actually playing so that you can level up, you can farm, you can strategize your item, your gears, your passive, your attributes, your character, your party, who character you're gonna be including in your party, right? So that you will have like a magic attack, or somebody that will heal you. Again, RPG elements here. Because you're just alone, you got none of those, right? And you're just bashing, so it's not really rewarding. Again, those are my gripes for the RPG one. But the biggest again, guys, is the ending. Actually, they did not even like leave you an enough of a cliffhanger, to leave to your imagination if Clive will be alive or something. They just end it like that, as if they don't care, on a character that you've been actually playing for more than 40 hours or 80 hours, right? They could absolutely done better on that one. Pointless, pointless. That's what I can say. Phoenix. So Joshua died again on the ending. I mean, Joshua is supposed to be like revivable by Phoenix. I mean, for Christ's sake, it's like Phoenix, right? Phoenix down. But anyway, on the ending, actually, after you fought Ultima, right? The last Ultima, um, Clive actually restores Joshua, kind of like uses the power, right? He used the power of the Phoenix to actually heal the wound of Joshua here. But then Joshua's kind of like still dead, right? Clive just stood up, went into that kind of like a nexus, right? And then used his power to destroy the entire crystal. It's kind of dumb, honestly speaking, because Ultima is already dead, right? And all of those Ultimas, from different icons there, already combined with that Ultima that they got, and they already killed Ultima. So even though there's crystal there, it will be lifeless. It will be pointless because Ultima is already dead. So he could have actually just revived Joshua, went away, like flew, right? Outside of that, and went back to Jill and Torgal and to the people, celebrated their victory, right? Have a party, make you feel good as an RPG gamer, that you just beat the final boss and you're now celebrating, and then go back to the actual world, and then tell you that you now finish the story mode. You now have the freedom to explore the entire world using I don't know, like maybe using the Enterprise, right? Maybe mid finally develop like a flying ship that you can now use like a traditional Final Fantasy, right? Final Fantasy, even 15, Final Fantasy 15 has a flying car, right? Here, as you probably played already, there's a quest of Mid where Mid is trying to, make like a toy of a ship, to fly. They're kind of like mocking, right? Sid's legacy, right? In Final Fantasy, Sid is always like a captain of a flying ship, right? Or a ship. Ship. That's why it's Sid. So they killed Sid here and replaced him with Mid, the daughter, But the daughter tried to create like a boat, like a model, like a toy boat, trying to like make it fly, and it did not fly, and that's it. And it's kind of dumb, right? It's like they're mocking the actual Final Fantasy that we always love, we always remember, right? It's just weird. So now you end up with this game that you cannot explore the world because Clive is already dead on the ending. It just really ended the game, and that's it. You just have to play New Game Plus. That is ridiculous for me, guys. Like, that's really like the worst ending that I've seen in even in Final Fantasy. Like, Jesus. Games such as Final Fantasy or RPG games are really good in ending, really good that will make you feel super, super awesome. Like you're gonna cry because you're happy, right? Typically, RPG games, they will make you cry because of tears of joy, right? Tears of completeness, achievement, right? Because you finish the story, you finish the journey. A lot of people, or probably some people died, or a lot of people survived, but you finished it and you're there, and you're now with your loved ones to celebrate it. What's the point, right, of finishing the goddamn game if your character will die in the ending? It's just mind blowing for me because they just cut you there right then and there and make you like feel empty. Now you might think that in Crisis Core, right, Zack died and it's kind of like the same. It's not, because Zack died so that Cloud can live, right? Essentially, you're gonna be Cloud, so it's a continuous legacy. Here, Clive just died, and it's not even like impactful. Like, Jesus Christ, they just left Clive there on the seashore, like turning into stone, and that's it. They didn't even give like an ultimate burial, or or whatever memorial to Clive. Not that I like that. Again, I would love if I'm the one who creating it. Unfortunately, I'm not a game creator. But if, like, if they love Final Fantasy, or if they only love Final Fantasy, they would like do what I said initially, right? That they would like made Clyde pick up Joshua, heal him using Phoenix, flew outside, destroy the crystal from outside, or just let it be. Again, Ultima is not there anymore, and then just celebrate the victory, right? Marry, jail, celebrate with each other, and then move forward as a as a citizen, right? For this world. This world is already depressing enough. A lot of people just keeps on dying on this world, right? You will think like, why are they killing people, like, from the creator's standpoint? What's the need of killing a lot of people, right? You already killed a couple, then just go ahead and leave Clive, and then have a happy ending, right? So this game has a really bad ending for me. I really hate the ending. I'm sorry, I apologize. I'm like ranting too much, but I'm just not used in a game that they killed the protagonist, but they did not kind of like give a justice on that. For example, in Final Fantasy X, right? You have Tidus, right? It's kind of like the same one, right? Tidus on the ending is just a dream, but my God, imagine how long the build up, right, for that ending before you actually went into that ending, and the final ending is just even so super epic, right? It's very romantic, epic. There's a song. It's just really a lot of chills, right? It's like epic. And then they followed that right away with Final Fantasy X2, where you're now playing as Yuna, and then you can now continue looking for Tidus, right? Essentially playing the game, right? Continuing the legacy of the game. Here, they just left Clive dying on the seashore without nobody else doing anything with him. It's just nuts, right? It's like they don't even love Final Fantasy. And you know what? The final gripe that I have it I have a lot of gripes, but the final gripe that I have about this is there's like a what do I call that? Post credit, right? There's a post credit for this one where they showed like like a world where magic doesn't exist, icon doesn't exist. A couple of kids that are playing with a puppy named Bahamut, and magic doesn't exist there. and it appears that those kids are just reading a book because there's actually a book there. It says Final Fantasy by Clive Rossfield, right? So the thing is, that supposed to be like good, right? If you will actually like if they will continue, right? If they will continue the build up of that one, it may be good, right? I think it's just a little bit cliffhanger there, because that means that Clive, you can like you can what do you call this? You can theorize, right, that the Clive is still alive. He's the one who wrote the book. But if he's still alive and he wrote the book, why does the kids and the mother, especially the mother, doesn't know, right? Why doesn't know the icon, the magics, right? He's supposed to know, right? But he doesn't know. And the kids are just reading the book, right? And they're just saying like, yeah, Bahamut, the dog's name is Bahamut. Where's Jill? Where is Torgal? Where are the people that we love? It's very like a cliffhanger, and they're kind of like just they wanted to play with your mind a little bit, to make you think that Clive Rossfield is alive. However, it's not enough, and they just did not show Clive being alive, right? It would be better if they actually showed, or if they actually ended up with Clive being alive, so that you can actually enjoy it instead of just imagining it, right? But that's it. That's that's my rant about this. Of course, there's a lot of rant actually. A lot of rants, especially on the itemization. Again, I already talked about itemization. It's very linear, but one thing that I also hate about itemization is like just a bunch of necklace, a lot of necklace. Kind of like that's always the one that they will reward you, but those necklace are like -2 seconds of cooldown, -4 seconds of cooldown. Like who the hell will sacrifice a slot because you can only like wear three necklace, right? Why would you sacrifice like a defense, right, or attack or a plus health, replacing it with like a 2 seconds, -2 seconds cooldown? That's just ridiculous. I think it's ridiculous. They could have like put like additional passive or additional, really like a permanent stat, so that you can boost your actual your actual stats, not just like when you're wearing them it's fine, and then when you remove it, you're not gonna benefit from it. But that's a lot. That's a lot. Again, I could talk all day here. Talking about the gripes. I'm just really frustrated that they went into kind of like a Game of Thrones cinematic. Even Marvel. Cliffhanger post credit. I want a game, right? So I'm actually hoping that they will release like a DLC or something, right? Like an expansion maybe in the future. I don't know what do you call that, side story or something, expansion like the X2, Final Fantasy X2, where they can actually expound on the source material, because it's promising. Final Fantasy 16 world is promising. If they can actually expound more about on that, it will be awesome. So, for example, maybe after the main story, they can unlock playable characters, right? Like, other characters such as Jill and Gav, right, and Dion are now playable. So you can now play them, control them. They will have their own icon or magic power or whatever, or gears that you can just manipulate or configure, which is pretty awesome, right? So like Jill can have Shiba, but then very intricate, frost magic. So that's I mean that's one thing, right? You can they can add like dungeons again, extended dungeons that you can hunt. You can really like specialize and look for gears or really hardcore stuff, right? And one thing that I mentioned earlier, they could have like a controllable enterprise, right? I would like to have like a controllable enterprise, so you can really roam around the world, because that's what Final Fantasy do, right? They just, they fly using a spaceship or something, or not a spaceship, like a ship, right? A flying ship, and a freaking alternate ending. I don't want them to leave Clive there. I want Clive and Jill to see each other again, to celebrate life, because that's what they're aiming for, right? I know, they're like, to die on your own terms, whatever. It's all death, right? It's already, life is already depressing as it is. Please, please, games, make us happy, right? Please remove us from this depression, constant depression that we're feeling. So don't add up more depression like this. Again, adding mini chocobo, or kind of like mini games rather, chocobo racing, or things like that, on a specific town, so that you will have a motivation or reason to visit those towns again and again, explore the world using the your ship, right? and then know the people more, right? Know the world more. Because I believe again the world that they create is pretty interesting, right? They could actually expound on that one, and yeah, real party system. Once other characters are controllable, of course they can add that to the team, and then you can configure it, and then maybe make it a party. Of course, it's not gonna happen. I'm just dreaming, but imagine if you can control Jill and Bahamut, right, and do some nasty stuff, right? It's super awesome, right? Like the Tri Disaster, that is actually awesome. Elevate the attributes. I would like them to kind of like add, more like elemental, efficacies, weakness, strength, affinities, poison, status, debuffing, typical RPG stuff, so that you will now think, right? Instead of just smash button and then just go there and do some things, you will actually now think before fighting an enemy, because it might not be that easy anymore. Lastly, if they finally give the Final Fantasy menu audio or sound again on this game, 10 out of 10, right? If you will notice, if you actually go to the menu of this one, it's kind of like the Ubisoft menu, right? Where you can control using your thumbsticks. I actually hate that. uh, I mean, it's here, but Final Fantasy including 7 remake, they still got the bloop, 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 brrr, right? If you go to the menu, it's like tick tick tick. All of the Final Fantasy like that, even back in 1997, all of them, 11, 13, 12, all of them has that bloop, 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 brrr, like the menu audio. This 16 doesn't have that, and it's just kind of sad. That's why it doesn't feel like Final Fantasy, because of that as well. Clive can be alive, or Clive may be alive, but who knows? It's just really super cliffhanger, to the point that it's not satisfactory anymore, right? Because it's just not enough, right? No Jill, no Torgal. It's not enough. The post credit is more depressing, right, than rewarding. But that's it, at least for me. Let me know down in the comments, what are your thoughts, guys? Do you think you love where it goes? You love where the story or the actual game, of Final Fantasy is going here on the 17? Are you excited for the 17, or you're more excited with the remake of the 7, right? The rebirth, like me, because I'm really waiting for the rebirth, and I hope Final Fantasy 7 rebirth kind of like completes, right, the void that this game 16 left into my heart right now, unfortunately. But again, that's it for today. Let me know down in the comments if you have any question, any thoughts. Subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed yet. I upload a lot of videos like that, review, gameplay, and I'm actually uploading all of my gameplay, or not all, some of my battles. So just subscribe if you want to check that out. But yeah, thanks so much for watching. That's all for today. Take care, guys, and see you for my next one. Peace.